You're a defective product since you can't give us grandchildren. Get divorced and get out.
With those words, Linda waved her hands as if shooing away a bug. Tom, without addressing Linda's behavior, made no attempt to help me. Understood. I don't want to stay in this house any longer either, so I accept the divorce. I said, glaring at Linda. Tom looked surprised. Did he think I would cry and cling or apologize to Linda?
Got it? Then leave now. You got a plague.
I'll leave without you having to tell me twice. Then I gathered my belongings left in the yard and left the house. The year after divorcing Tom, I decided to send a letter to my former in-laws. A healthy baby boy was born. It included a photo of me with my beloved son and the words, "It was my way of revenge." The following month, I received a barrage of frantic calls from Tom on my smartphone. Seeing this, I couldn't help but smirk. My name is Ashley Martin, a working mom striving daily. My job is an illustrator, and thankfully, I receive plenty of work requests from various places. I want to be an artist when I grow up. I've said since I was little. My parents supported my dreams, always praising me. What a lovely drawing.
Ashley, you'll definitely create art that everyone acknowledges.
My dad always supported me the most. He was a children's book author, and I loved his gentle illustrations. I want to draw like Dad. I told him once, and he beamed with joy. Although my dream has slightly changed, I've achieved it and enjoy my days at work.
Ashley, how's the progress on that project?
It's on schedule. Looks like there won't be any issues until delivery. I met my husband Tom through work. He worked for a major company, and our initial connection was when they hired me to create illustrations for their website.
I fell in love with your illustrations. Could we talk more about it?
That was how he approached me. From there, our relationship deepened, and soon he confessed his feelings for me.
I want to build a happy home with you, Ashley. Will you marry me?
Following his proposal, I married Tom.
I think we can overcome anything together with you.
Tom said with a smile. Believing that I could have happy days with him, I chose to be with Tom. Once this is over, I think I'll take a short break. How about we go on a trip?
Sounds good. I'll adjust the schedule.
We like traveling and frequently go on trips together. Though we don't have children, I believe we've built a reasonably happy home. When I was working at home, the doorbell rang. Is it her again? I sighed and checked the visitor on the monitor. Sure enough, it was Linda. I sighed again and opened the front door. What's up, Linda?
Just the usual check. Let me in quickly.
She said, barging into the houses. Watching her back, I wondered if I could get any work done today as I reviewed my schedule in my head.
Don't just stand there. Make some tea at least. You really aren't thoughtful.
Yes, I'm sorry. Our house and my in-laws are within walking distance. That's probably why Linda shows up unannounced like this. Honestly, I don't want to let her in, but one time when I pretended not to be home, she used a spare key to let herself in.
If you're home, let me in quickly.
That time, I was lectured for hours and couldn't focus on my work. I've changed the locks before, but Tom keeps making spare keys and giving them to her, so it's only a temporary fix. This time, she was holding a spare key in her right hand, so she would have entered on her own if I hadn't come out.
You're home all day, and you can't even manage the housework properly?
Linda pointed at the laundry left out. Tom had changed out of these clothes before heading to work and just left them there. Yes, I'm sorry.
And you feeding Tom properly?
Arguing back only makes the lectures last longer. Just saying, I'm sorry, will eventually bore her, and she'll leave. So I just endured this painful time.
So, when are you going to let me hold my grandchild?
At that, I couldn't help but look down. For years now, Linda has been pressuring me to have children soon. I want children too. But no matter how long I wait, they just haven't come.
I wonder if you're infertile.
I've been told by the doctor that there's nothing wrong. We started trying to conceive 6 months after getting married. But I never got pregnant, so I had tests done at the gynecologist. According to the results, there's nothing wrong with me. In fact, I was told I'm more likely to conceive.
Are you sure that doctor is reliable? Well, whatever. Just don't bother Tom.
I was irritated, but I tried not to show it. I see. Satisfied with my response, Linda finished her remaining criticisms of the housework and left early. I'm glad she left early this time. In the beginning, when we were newly married, Richard was there as a stopper, so it wasn't this bad.
Don't cling to your son forever.
Richard didn't approve of Linda's meddling in her son's marriage. In fact, he tried to stop Linda from making unannounced visits.
Tom has his own family now. A parent should trust and watch over their child.
It was because of Richard that Linda didn't come to our house unannounced or at all. But that changed when Richard passed away from illness.
Remember, you should prioritize Ashley above all. A man who can't protect his wife shouldn't call himself a husband.
Richard said this to Tom even as he was battling his illness.
Of course, just like Dad should protect Mom, so it's wrong to leave her behind.
I remember Tom responding that way to Richard. Not long after, Richard passed away. That's when Linda's meddling started to spiral out of control. I'll talk to Tom, but it won't solve anything. It would be great if Tom could be a stopper, but he completely trusts Linda. When I brought up Linda's behavior before, all he said was, "It's probably just for now." So Linda's unannounced visits continue. For the sake of my work, I have to do something about it. With that, I decided to finish up the remaining work I had left. Tom, I need to talk to you about Linda. I brought up Linda when Tom came home for dinner. At first, he listened kindly, asking, "What's up?" But as I continued, his smile turned into a wry one.
It can't be helped. Mom is just worried about me.
If she's worried about you, she should come when you're here, right?
That's true. Well, I'll talk to her about it too.
Tom said with a laugh, but he never really addressed the issue with Linda. Tom avoids conflict and can't speak strongly to anyone. Especially with Linda, no matter what is said or done, he just dismisses it with, "It can't be helped." At least don't give her the spare key. I can't work if she enters whenever she wants.
But what if it's an emergency?
It's better not to give it if it's misused. Even though I stated my case firmly, Tom was not convinced, just muttering, "Really?" It frustrates me, but I try to control myself. If these unannounced visits continue, I'll change the locks, and I won't give you the new key.
Hey, that would be a problem. I won't be able to get into the house when I come back from work.
I'll be inside, so I'll open the door when you come back. If you don't like that, either talk to Linda or take the spare key away. It was only after saying all this that Tom finally nodded. Okay. However, I don't really expect Tom to take action. It feels like it'll just end up being brushed off again. How can I make him understand? Just after murmuring this, my smartphone pinged with a notification. It was a message from my childhood friend Ryan Smith.
How have you been, Ashley? If you're free, do you want to go out for drinks sometime?
His considerate message slightly eased my irritation. Ryan and I lived in the same neighborhood and used to play together all the time without worrying about each other's schedules. But now we check each other's availability. And that makes me reflect somewhat deeply on how we've grown up. Of course, I'd love to. I also have something I'd like to discuss. He quickly responded to my reply.
That's fine. But have you checked with Tom?
Ryan and Tom interact through work and occasionally dine together. Thanks to that, Tom doesn't mind at all if I meet with Ryan. I know. I'll let you know the approved date.
If you've got it sorted, then it's fine.
I'd like to discuss Tom with Ryan if possible. But as a married woman meeting Ryan, who is single, just the two of us, I need to inform Tom properly. Ryan invited me for drinks. Is it okay if I go?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll be eating out that day too, so just let me know the date and time later.
Tom gave his permission easily. Grateful, I quickly contacted Ryan to arrange the schedule.
So, what's this talk about?
A few days later, we were at a familiar bar. This bar, run by a couple we know, is open like a diner, so Ryan and I wouldn't be alone. We often choose this spot to drink because of our acquaintance with the owners. Well, it's about Linda and Tom. I wanted to discuss Linda and Tom and was looking for a male perspective on the situation.
Honestly, she's different from my mom, so I don't know what to say.
Ryan grew up in a single-parent home. He lives separately from his mom, but apparently keeps in touch regularly.
My mom actually lets me live my life as long as I don't bother anyone else.
Richard was kind of like that too. He used to keep Linda in check. Ryan mused again,
If his wife is uncomfortable and his father told him so, Tom should really be stepping in. But, given his personality, should I talk to Tom?
I pondered his words for a moment. Maybe Ryan could make Tom listen. That sounds good. I'd appreciate it. If that doesn't work, I'll have to resort to drastic measures.
Right. Sometimes a little shock is necessary to get the point across. Well, I'll do my best to avoid that.
Ryan said, sounding quite dependable. Then he changed the subject. Enough of the gloomy talk. Let's enjoy our drinks tonight. And I nodded in agreement. Sometime after going out with Ryan, it seemed Tom had finally said something to Linda, possibly because someone else pointed it out.
What a cocky daughter-in-law. Poor Tom having someone like you as his wife.
Linda began calling daily, stopping the unannounced visits. I used work as an excuse to ignore these calls, expecting her to give up eventually.
Actually, my mom called me. I'll be going to her place this weekend. Oh, and Ashley, you don't need to come.
All right, got it. Instead, Tom started being summoned to his parents' house. It could be as often as once a week or at least 3 times a month. It was odd since previously it had just been Linda visiting, but since I was always told to stay home, I didn't mind. Well, if it keeps the peace, then it's fine. I thought, settling in for the long haul. However, an incident would happen that made me regret this arrangement. All right then, I'm off.
Yeah, have a good one.
I left for a business trip due to an event. Normally, Tom doesn't do much housework, but he can manage if he wants to. So I left the household matters to him, and I headed alone to the event venue in another region. It was tough but fun, I thought, feeling tired but fulfilled as I returned home. What's this? However, that feeling quickly faded when I saw the state of our yard. Belongings were scattered messily across the yard, and all the items were mine, including work tools and keepsake items. Tom, what's all this? I called out to Tom, who I assumed was inside, almost shouting in my query.
Can't you come in quietly? Must you be so loud?
It wasn't Tom who answered, but Linda. Why is Linda here? Linda grinned when I was dazed.
About the stuff in the yard. I threw them out.
What? Linda did.
Yes, I thought I'd throw out an unwanted daughter-in-law along with her stuff.
I was stunned, not understanding what she meant. Then Tom peeked out from the back of the house. Tom, what's going on? Explain this.
Well, that's...
When I asked him, Tom avoided my gaze. As I was getting frustrated with his evasive attitude and about to ask again, Linda burst out laughing.
Tell her, Tom, we don't need an infertile wife.
Infertile? There's nothing wrong with me.
Then why haven't you had children after 5 years of marriage?
I wished I knew the answer to that myself. As I thought this, Linda presented a divorce form.
We found a more suitable wife for Tom, so we don't need you anymore.
The form already had Tom's section filled out. When I looked at Tom again, he awkwardly averted his eyes.
A defective product that can't produce grandchildren should just get divorced and leave.
Linda said dismissively, shooing me away with her hand. Tom did nothing to reprimand Linda or help me. Understood. I don't want to stay in this house anymore either, so I accept the divorce. I said, glaring at Linda. Tom looked surprised. Did he think I would cry and cling or apologize to Linda?
If you understand, then leave quickly, you god of plague.
I'll leave without being told twice. Then I gathered my belongings that had been left in the yard and left the house. Ryan, can you help me out a bit?
What's up?
Ryan came over as soon as I called. With his help, I moved my belongings.
That woman had another man. It's definitely good that you got divorced.
Linda was saying inside the house. I'll definitely show them. With that vow in my heart, Ryan was looking at me intently.
Ashley, if it's okay with you.
What? The year after I divorced Tom, I decided to send a letter to my former in-laws. A healthy baby boy was born. It included a photo of me with my beloved son and the words, "This was my way of getting revenge. Thank you for coming to me, my dear Oliver," I said, smiling at my son. And the next month, I received a number of calls from Tom on my phone. Smirking, I picked up the phone.
What do you mean, son?
Tom's voice sounded frantic. Laughing at his reaction, I left Oliver with my current husband and stepped aside. What do you mean? My precious son was born at the end of the year.
But Ashley, you were infertile, right?
That was just something Linda said unilaterally. I actually have a body likely to conceive. As I said this, noise erupted on the other end of the line.
Well done.
What? Unwillingly hearing Linda's voice, I couldn't help but speak in a low tone. Oblivious to my reaction, Linda excitedly began to talk.
That child is Tom's son, right? And a boy at that. You're welcome to come back then.
Apparently, Linda still hadn't realized the truth. I might as well tell her myself then. You seem to be under a misconception, but that child isn't Tom's by blood.
Don't lie. You probably haven't found anyone else anyway. You're still alone, aren't you? If the child is with you, we might consider taking you back into the family.
The thing is, Tom is the infertile one. I cut Linda off to tell the truth. Her voice halted abruptly.
What? Tom is infertile?
Yes, that's why we couldn't have children when we were together. Actually, there was one time I managed to persuade Tom to undergo fertility testing with me. The results had come in before our divorce, but in all the chaos, I had forgotten to check them. But when I got pregnant, I checked those results. It turned out it would be best to give up on natural conception with Tom.
That's a lie.
Her precious son turned out to be infertile, and because of him, she couldn't have grandchildren. This fact seemed to be quite a shock to Linda. She could say nothing but, "It's a lie."
But then whose child is the one on the letter?
He's my son. Any complaints?
Just then, a voice came from behind, and my phone was snatched from my hand. Turning around, I saw Ryan smiling brightly.
Tom, I can't thank you enough. Because you let go of Ashley, I got to meet my beloved wife and son.
With that, Ryan hung up the phone.
Oliver has gone to sleep, and I cut in.
"It's okay. Thank you," I told him with a smile, and Ryan blushed slightly. Soon after, Tom contacted me again.
He's really my son, isn't he?
"That's why I told you. Children weren't possible with you."
So you were cheating with Ryan. How dare you betray me? I will never forgive you.
Tom's words made me sigh in disbelief. He really had the nerve to accuse others. "Wasn't it you who cheated?"
What?
Yes, Tom had an affair. Linda, thinking her infertile daughter-in-law was the reason for the lack of grandchildren, went off the rails and decided a woman who had children before would be suitable. And so, she summoned Tom to the family home and set him up on a blind date.
Why do you know about that?
The woman from the blind date told me. This had happened right after I divorced Tom. A letter addressed to me had arrived at my parents' house, detailing the blind date. She seems to be the neighbor's single mother. Linda told her that her son had been abandoned by a terrible wife and introduced her to Tom. Tom took a liking to her at first sight and, pretending to visit his family home, went on multiple dates with her. Just when she was considering marriage, you and I divorced. Linda, happy to have me out of the way, told her the troublemaker was gone. Linda had carelessly spoken, making the blind date realize my existence. At the same time, the woman realized she had been deceived. There's no fault on her part. She was under the impression you were single. But you were different. You cheated on her while still married to me.
Well, you cheated on me too.
The matchmaker sincerely apologized, saying, "Even though I didn't know he was married, I'm really sorry. I was in a hurry to get a father for my child." I started seeing Ryan after we divorced. The day I left that house, Ryan confessed his feelings to me.
I've always loved you, Ashley.
He said, and though confused, I started dating Ryan. Soon after, we were blessed with Oliver, and we got married. I'm not like you. I don't cause trouble for others.
How would you know that for sure?
Then you should check into it. Maybe we should take it to court? The sudden mention of court made Tom fall silent.
Hold on. Why court?
Because I'm going to sue you for damages for the affair. If you think I've been unfaithful, Why don't you sue me? With that, Tom cursed and hung up the phone. Such a selfish man. Then I heard Oliver crying, and I put down my phone to go to him. Oh, Ryan, thank you.
I'm his dad. It's the least I can do.
When I got to Oliver, Ryan was already holding and comforting him. I thanked him, and he smiled kindly. Ryan also works from home, and now we are both able to raise Oliver together. If I were still with Tom, we could never have raised a child together like this.
Yeah, but Ashley, now that you're my wife, could you please not mention other men so much?
His cute jealousy made me smile again. Oh, sorry.
I'll watch Oliver. Why don't you take a break?
Thank you. I'll take you up on that. Ryan said, slightly embarrassed by his own suggestion. I thanked him and decided to rest. I have to visit the lawyer tomorrow. Soon after, I filed a claim for compensation with Tom through my lawyer. Thanks to the blind date who had given us solid evidence, we were able to successfully receive compensation from Tom. Nice weather. It's a great day for a walk.
That's true.
One day, I was walking in the park nearby with Ryan and Oliver.
I'll go buy some drinks.
Thank you. As Ryan went to get drinks, I picked up Oliver. And just as I was smiling at Ryan coming toward us,
Watch out.
a sudden impact from behind made me fall. I instinctively protected Oliver, but he slipped from my arms. Oliver!
I'm taking my son back.
It's nice to finally meet my grandson.
When I looked up, there was Linda holding Oliver, with Tom by her side. They started to run away with him.
Wait.
Stay out of the way.
Ryan chased after them as Tom tried to block him. As Linda escaped, I tried to stand up. Ouch! My foot hurts and I can't run. It seems I injured it when I fell. Oliver! Oliver!
What are you doing?
Hey, let go.
Passersby who noticed our distress restrained Linda. One of the women protected Oliver, who was crying, and brought him to me. My Oliver.
I'm so relieved.
You and your baby should go to the hospital. While thanking her, I looked at Tom and Linda. They were already being held down, yelling, "Let go and give back my grandchild."
The police have already been notified.
Thank you so much.
Leaving the scene to the bystanders, we headed to the hospital. It turned out I had sprained my ankle. Oliver was unharmed, just exhausted from crying.
You've been through a lot. I'm sorry for the trouble, but could you tell us what happened?
After that, I was questioned by the police and explained the situation to my parents, who had contacted me. Eventually, the police explained why Tom and Linda had done what they did.
My mom told me to. I just followed her orders.
Tom reportedly said during his interrogation. Meanwhile, Linda was yelling at the police, "I was just taking back my grandchild." It seems that after the blind date fled and word got out to relatives about me, the two of them were left without support. Linda's thinking spiraled out of control, blaming everything on me. It's all Ashley's fault. That child is really Tom's. She lied and stole my grandchild. And then to track us down and try to kidnap Oliver.
What terrible people.
Who would have thought it would come to this? After discussing it, we decided to move far away. Being able to work from home really helped during this time.
I'll protect you two this time. I won't let them near us again.
Ryan said, choosing a place with high security. Still, it would be a while before we could feel safe. But we won't let people like that defeat us. This time, I will protect Oliver thoroughly. I won't let him experience such fear again. From now on, I'll make sure Oliver can live smiling. That's the vow I made in my heart. By the way, I got a message from that woman. I've been in occasional contact with the blind date. I helped her escape from Tom as a way to thank her for giving us the evidence of the affair. She apologized for causing trouble because she had to flee.
She's not to blame at all.
As Ryan said, there's nothing wrong with her. In fact, she apologized more than necessary, saying she had hurt me by having an affair. I plan to tell her about Tom and then cut off contact.
That's a good idea. It's better for both of you to forget and be free.
I nodded in agreement with Ryan's words. Later, I learned that Tom and Linda were arrested for attempted kidnapping. As a result, Tom was fired from his job.
Even if they're free, they can't chase after us anymore.
Tom had already lost his savings paying me a settlement for the divorce. In order to find us, they went into debt and hired a detective.
It seems they borrowed money from shady places. They're probably waiting for Tom and Linda to show up now.
If that's the case, they won't be able to reach us here. We are currently overseas. We chose to move away from the US just to be safe.
Now we can raise Oliver without worries.
He said, and I nodded with a smile. It seems things turned out just as Ryan predicted for Tom and Linda. Somehow, after getting released, Tom was immediately taken away by some debt collectors. As for Linda, she was let go. But after this incident, she's been shunned by everyone around and can't find work anywhere.
They had to sell their house to pay off the debts. Well, that wasn't enough, so they sold almost everything they had, and now they're living under a bridge in a cardboard box.
My mom told me from the US. I smiled genuinely, relieved at the self-inflicted outcome they faced, and that we can now focus on Oliver's growth without worry.
Well, I guess I'll get some work done.
Ryan said, stretching. His profession is a children's book author, the same as my dad.
I have to create a children's book that Oliver will enjoy too, just like John did for me.
My dad doted on Ryan, who grew up without a father, and often read him the books he wrote. That inspired Ryan to become a children's book author. You will definitely create books that everyone will love.
Thank you. I'll make sure it comes true.
Seeing his reliable smile made my heart skip a beat.
Huh? Something wrong?
Nothing. I was just thinking how wonderful my husband is. Laughing, I said that, causing Ryan to blush and exclaim, "Hot." Though he's grown much taller and surpassed me in presence long ago, in moments like this, he hasn't changed since he was a child. Ryan, thank you for speaking to me that day.
I should be thanking you. Honestly, I felt a bit guilty.
Ryan admitted he felt guilty for taking advantage of my vulnerable state.
I wondered if you could truly be happy with someone you didn't originally love.
Well, if you're looking for a symbol of happiness, he's right here, I said, lifting Oliver, who giggled joyfully. Ryan smiled happily at the sight. Years later,
Grandpa, Grandma.
Long time no see, Oliver.
You've grown again.
we returned to the US for a long vacation. Oliver ran up to my parents with a beaming smile, and they warmly welcomed him.
By the way, I heard your book won an award.
Right. Thank you.
Recently, one of his books was well received and won an award. And now there are plans to make it into a movie.
I can't be outdone.
No way. I still can't beat John.
Ryan said, laughing with my dad. Meanwhile, I have also resumed working now that Oliver has grown up. Fortunately, I still receive requests from overseas, ensuring we have a sufficient income. I won't be outdone either. I joined in the conversation, and my dad jokes, "We're all rivals here," to which Oliver added, "Me too," with a smile. Let's keep this family full of smiles and laughter. I made that vow in my heart,